You're welcome back to the Sunday game. Well, now we're going back 24 hours. It's the big clash at Croke Park, the champions of Leinster and Ulster, Dublin taking on Donegal. Commentary comes from Desi Dolan and Ger Canning.
Dublin are pleased to see their captain Stephen Clogston back on the park once again, having missed the Leinster final win over Laois. It's a first All-Ireland quarter-final for Brian Howard. There are starts, however, late starts for Cian O'Sullivan, Owen Merchant and Jack McCaffrey. Donegal, meanwhile, are lamenting the loss of leading marksman Paddy McBrearty, who's out for the season with a bad knee injury. They make two late changes going into this. Stephen McMenamin replaces Neil McGee, and Eamon Doherty comes into the Donegal half-back line. Across here as far as Paul Brennan. Had a very good Ulster final. Got a couple of points in that as well. Jamie Brennan, his namesake. The other Brennan went to ground. The referee plays on. And that ball is kicked in and it's kicked over the bar. It's exactly what Donegal have required. And Jamie Brennan from Bundoran gets his first this afternoon. By and large, the crowd here are just enjoying the atmosphere. And now enjoying the football that Donegal are beginning to produce. Michael Murphy trying to take it around Brian Fenton. That wasn't going to be easy. In then came Ryan McHugh. McHugh kicking it awkwardly, but expertly and accurately. What a point.
Yeah, and what a versatile player for Donegal. Normally plays wing back. He's pushed up into forwards today, but that's an incredible score from a very difficult angle.
Michael Dara McCauley then booting it along towards Dean Rock. Donegal having to get the bodies back quickly, having been into the attack. And this is Con O'Callaghan, goal scorer in the All-Ireland final. Oh, well stopped by Sean Patton, throwing his body to that one. Not out of danger just yet, however. A second opportunity falling to Kieran Kilkenny, and he's put it over the bar this time. His third attempt, and he finally gets a reward for his troubles. But what about that for a very good piece of goalkeeping by Sean Patton? Nicely back in once again to Fenton, moving smartly, challenged here. Michael Langan has come onto the park there, I've noticed. It's one of the changes we were told about beforehand. Finally, that kick by Brian Howard sails up and sails over.
A brilliant finish from distance.
And that means they're level for the fourth time in this match. This is nicely down here as far as Stephen McMenamin. Not to be challenged by Michael Dara McCauley, so he kicks it in. It's 2 against 2 in there. Broken down here to Brennan. Oh, Jamie Brennan. That's the second one that he's blazed into Hill 16 from very, very good possession.
Yeah, great lay down.
Michael Langan touched it down to him.
It down. It was a brilliant opportunity. A weaker left foot, and he just lashed at it. And I suppose a little bit of inexperience there.
James McCarthy. Nicely in here to Kieran Kilkenny, taken up by Niall Scully. Scully flying through here, doesn't score very often. He has here. First ever championship goal for Niall Scully from Sing Street, Temple Ogue. A goal that comes after 27 minutes.
Yeah, great play by Niall Scully. He coasted in here, but he showed great composure. Sold it on his left foot, finished on his right foot. Brilliant finish, kept it low.
What about Johnny Cooper? The Nafiana man coming through, cutting through two defenders. Pass was a little bit short there, but retained by Howard. And back in and finished. And would you believe it, if you don't get one in your career as a championship player, you never know the day when you might get two. And that's what's happened to Niall Scully, a man who'd only scored 2 points in championship football before this. A goal in the first half, and now the ball fed through to him to finish calmly and easily and in past Sean Patton to make it 2-9 to 8 points. Back to Neil McGee, one of the stars of the 2012 All-Ireland victory. Here comes Ryan McHugh, who started the game on the 40, actually transferred to Paul Brennan. Brennan trying to go through 2, 3, 4 players and eventually kicked over the bar. Superbly done here by Ryan McHugh, his second point of the match. Back out into the middle again towards the 2-goal hero, Niall Scully. Cian O'Sullivan, the one kicking it away. Down here to Merchant. Mulligan as far as McMenamin. How many hearts has he broken over the years with his prowess? And what about this? That time it was Fenton, and the goalkeeper Sean Patton stood up strongly, got his body in the way, and denied Dublin a third goal. And when Donegal look back on this later on, they'll see that an awful lot of the Dublin scores came from errors on their part. What a catch that was by Brian Fenton.
Yeah, I think if they do a bit of work on their kick-out strategy, it kind of failed today. And certainly some of their inexperience, they'll learn an awful lot from this experience. You're playing against the best team in the country.
McMenamin. Back as far as Owen Merchant. Looking like he's going to play the full game as Paul Flynn brings back memories of good old days for Dublin and for their fans up on Hill 16 by stroking that one over the bar. And now look at the scoreline, 2-14 to 13 points, started by that wonderful catch. Michael Murphy carried on here again by Stephen McBrearty. He's looked lively. Ryan McHugh on as far as Cian Mulligan. Goalkeeper challenged, they hold on to it, they deal with it, and the referee blows the final whistle. So Jim Gavin has another very, very successful afternoon under his belt here. Dublin unbeaten now in 28 championship matches, and it finishes here, Dublin winning by 5. It's Dublin 2-15, Donegal 16 points.
We came up here to get points on the board, and disappointed, to be quite honest. We didn't play probably as good as we can, or as good as we've done through Ulster, but we knew the levels were different against a very strong Dublin side. And you know, when you get chances against Dublin, you've got to take them. And probably two areas: one was we weren't clinical enough, and Dublin put a lot of pressure on the kickouts, and you know, they controlled that area. So that was a huge factor. But listen, Dublin are not All-Ireland champions for the last 3 years for nothing. They're a really good side.
From our perspective, that performance won't be good enough the next day. Yeah, we controlled the game well at times. Our substitutions did really well and contributed to a good close into the game. But yeah, we've a lot of work to do.
Yeah, Jim Gavin not happy. Kieran Whelan, what did you make of Dublin's performance?
It certainly wasn't their best days. They certainly weren't clinical. When you look in terms of the statistics of the game, they had enough possession. They dominated their own kick-out. They ruffled the Donegal kick-out. So normally Dublin would win with much more comfort. They weren't as clinical up front. They didn't take their chances. They kicked a lot of wides. Kind of scrappy performance, and they let Donegal kind of hang in there.
What did you make of Donegal?
Yeah, Donegal, I think, listen, they had to sacrifice. You know, they sacrificed Oran McNeilis and Owen Bonbranach to do man-marking jobs. I don't think they utilised Michael Murphy in the right way. So they took away from, I think, a lot of their strengths. But I still think there's a lot of positives there from them. I've been positive about them all year. They've been good all year. They stayed in the game. And maybe they were happy with a 3 or 4 point defeat that they could have pushed on, particularly from 64th minute onwards. They could have really had a cut, tried to get back into the game. But from a Dublin perspective, lots of improvement to do, and particularly maybe the movement in the forward line and creating easy chances. They're not being as clinical as they have been in the past.
OK, well, Sean Kavanagh, after years of listening to people talking about Tyrone's blanket defence, you want to show us the Dublin setup yesterday.
I've been shouting at the TV for years, days, giving off about Tyrone's defensive play, and I have to say a lot of Dublin's play last night, they got serious numbers behind the ball. They replicated the system that Donegal were infamous for. We can see in this clip here, a bit of a battle around midfield. They get it turned over. Whenever it freezes here, they have 15 men, not 12, not 10, 15 men behind the ball in their own half. In fairness to them, they do break away with pace. Cormac Costello come into the game very effective. Kicked a score at a very crucial moment, and just a few minutes later here again we have another clip. They've just come out of defence, turned the ball over after a Donegal attack. Whenever it freezes here, we have one man inside. Dean Rock was playing inside in his own at this point. The ball is played into him effectively. It's to hand. But yet again, the running system, similar to Tyrone and what Tyrone have been doing the last number of years and are still doing well. Jeff McCaffrey gets a goal chance there, probably should finish. But the point has to be made that Dublin have that in their armoury, and they have been doing that for the last number of years. They're able to get men behind the ball and break at pace, and they're as effective in the running game as well as anyone is. but they just haven't got the criticism, particularly from guys like this man sitting to my left.
I think to say they replicated the Donegal system, I think is a little bit harsh. I think the game has evolved where teams will end up, if the build-up play is slow, they get men behind the ball, and I think that has been Dublin's nature. It's all the top teams will get men behind the ball if the play slows down, but I don't think they've got to the position where they're turning and sprinting back to get in a position to defend a 50. I don't think they're certainly at that level, or have been at all.
Not at all, but they do that. It's part of their psyche, and you have to give it to Jim Gavin. He has.
Well, they learned from the Donegal when they got beaten in 2014.
He's recognised where the weaknesses
were. But I think the beauty about this is they do get back, but they're still scoring 20 points and 122 in every match. So they've got the balance right where the other teams are trying to get to that level.
When you say Dublin haven't got criticism for it, should they be getting criticism for it?
I wouldn't say criticism. They're extremely dynamic up front. They are putting the scores on the board, and they have been dominating. They are the greatest team that's played the GA the last number of years. But they have played in that way as well. The point has to be made.
All right, and loads of support up in Tyrone for you, as you say. What about Dublin closing down Donegal's kickouts? Was referred to in the post-match interviews there.
Yeah, I thought they were excellent, Des, and they really went after it. And you can see right from the off they put Sean Patton under pressure. What they do is it was a zonal kind of press where they tempt the keeper into. Putting the ball into a particular point, and here's a perfect example where you see they're giving the Donegal lads the space. They're saying to the keeper, yeah, go have a go, but that ball's going to be in the air for 2 or 3 seconds, and if you go short we're going to smooth it, if you go long we will get there, and they back themselves. And you can see Sean White hands out, doesn't know what to do, decides to go straight down the middle, and who's there to pick it up? Particularly I thought the second half Fenton was excellent. Here again, exact same system, but watch this is incredible. Jack McCaffrey comes from 20-30 yards and he's in the position, gets a great hand pass out, but he's in the perfect position to attack that ball, and that's backing up the point that I was making. Donegal then changed. They didn't have the men out the flanks. They decided to come in tight. At this stage, they really didn't know what to do. Dublin still have 3 men down either side. And again, they go long, and Fenton was there to. So they cracked the Donegal kick out. That's been a huge part of the Donegal strategy. Sean Patton has been excellent all year. He was hitting balls over the top, and Dublin put them under significant pressure, and they won 10 of their kick outs, which gave them a platform for attack.
Colin, one area that you're wondering about is how to use Michael Murphy in the Donegal setup.
Yeah, it's something that bugs me, Des, because we all know what a talented footballer is, and he's a bit of an enigma, to be honest. Do you play midfield, do you play him centre forward, do you play him full forward? I think you have to play him closer to goal. We saw yesterday, at times, Dublin struggled with ball that went in around the square, but I looked at Michael Murphy and he was at least 10, 15, maybe 20 yards behind the ball on so many occasions yesterday. And for Donegal to be winning big matches, and let's remember that Patrick McBurty is out for the year, he needs to be a leader in that full forward line. And at the moment, I just don't think they're getting the most out of him, Des. Again, looking in here again, Hugh McFadden's actually inside for this one, and you can look at the consternation that happens. Johnny Cooper gets a hand on that to get it away. Again, this time we can see Michael Murphy on 45. He needs to be busting the gut to get this break, and I'm just not seeing that energy from him.
But in fairness to him, doesn't he have to burst the gut to get back as well? But
he's doing that too much, Des. He's a full forward. He's one of the most talented forwards in the country, and I'm not having it that somebody else can play around in the middle of the field and give a hand pass right and left. When I watch him in Croke Park, I'm looking at him, I'm looking down straight at him. He turns his back and runs back towards his own goal. Not good enough.
I think that's been harsh on Donegal and Michael Murphy. Everything that Donegal do goes through Michael Murphy's hands. We would love to see him at full forward. Yesterday he was matched up against James McCarthy. I played against McCarthy in the semi-final last year. He's a tough player, probably the best in the game at doing that.
My point, Sean, is that I think it's a dream for James McCarthy at the moment.
He would have been more dangerous, even to go in there for 10 minutes and try and test the Dublin full back line. But he didn't go in there at all.
But Donegal don't have a Neil Gallagher, an experienced head in midfield like they did have 3, 4, 5 years ago, and they need Murphy out there to handle the ball.
Okay, you talk about experienced heads in midfield. There was a younger head for Dublin around the middle yesterday, Brian Howard.
Yeah, he was sensational, Des. You know, he's played in the forwards, he's played wing back. Yesterday, he was one of the free men, if you want to call it that, but his feeling was absolutely out of this world. He kicked 2 points. He's brilliant feet, great side step. Gives it to Fenton here, takes it back, has a look up, lines up the position over the bar. But it was his feeling yesterday. I actually think he could be a natural future partner for Fenton in the middle. Outfields him here. Again, it's just the quickness of his feet, how he drops the shoulder and puts Dublin on the front foot. Ball here again, another great catch. And he's up, quick movement of the ball and in. And then he, with his weak foot, here's that side step. He'll throw everybody over the bar with his left foot. So he's been the one when Kilkenny and Fenton, or when Kilkenny and Mannion were kept reasonably quiet yesterday. You had Scully and Howard that stood up to the mark when Dublin needed them, and he's certainly developed into this team this year. He's going to be there for a long time.
And I think that's the only thing that will give the other teams a bit of confidence. As Conor Callahan, Kieran Kilkenny, Paul Mannion, Dean Rock, they weren't effective yesterday, so maybe they're not bubbling as much as they were in previous years.
But they still won by 5 points.
They did.
All-Ireland quarter-final.